That's one of the fundamental questions of life. Is that, well, so we have a sense in the West, there's a doctrine in the West, very central doctrine. It's associated with the idea of logos and the divine word. The truth will set you free. Well, true or false? You might say, well, if I say the truth, I'm going to get into trouble. Fair enough, but if you abide by the lie, you're also going to get into trouble. And so, one of the things you can do instantly is disabuse yourself of the notion that there's a zero trouble pathway. It's like you're in trouble both ways, like real trouble. You get to pick your trouble. That's all you've got. You get to pick your trouble. Now, in my situation, the situation my family has been in, we've been subject to intense attempts at cancellation dozens of times. Some of them of ridiculous intensity and duration. And we've learned that if we had been careful, and so that's important, I do my best not to say things that I believe are false. And so generally, it's been very difficult for those who want to cancel me to actually point to something I said to manage the cancellation. And so that's been very helpful. That's a matter of stepping carefully. But we've also discovered that if we can tolerate the strain without an apology, let's say without backtracking, it will inevitably reverse. Not just not work, that's the Streisand effect, right? But reverse. So the people who've come after me most harshly, in some sense, Kathy Newman, say on Channel 4, which was kind of comical, and then Helen Lewis for, I believe it was GQ, I think that interview has 50 million views. And so she did everything she could to lay serpentine traps for me. And it was very stressful and very high intensity dance, because if I would have said the wrong thing, all the moral virtue would have accrued to her and I would have been done. But the consequence instead was that she was my best friend, just like Kathy Newman was. And so you might say, well, if you say what you have to say, and I would say, don't just shoot your mouth off incautiously. There's no sense getting fired stupidly and leaving your family to starve. You have to be strategic about these things. It's be a lifetime commitment, not a momentary whim that now you're going to, bumble out the truth. It might be a little late for that in your situation, right? But you have to decide in your life. You have to decide. Are you better served by the truth or by the lie of silence or deception? And those are your options. That's it. That's all you've got. And I believe that it isn't even so much that I believe that the truth will set you free, although I do. I know for certain that it's adherence to the lie that produces the totalitarian tyranny of hell. I know that for certain. The core of the totalitarian state is the lie. And then the degree to which you participate in that, with your silence or your outright falsehoods, is the degree to which you are an avatar of the spirit of the totalitarian tyranny. And that's, if you have any degree of insight at all, you see, well, that's something hellish. That thing that has dominion over you, that temptation to lie, that's the spirit that rules over hell. Well, you should be way more afraid of that. And I mean, infinitely more afraid of that. The truth might strip you bare, but if you fall under the dominion of the ruler of the pathway to hell, there is literally nothing worse than that. And you might say, well, that's hyperbole. It's like, really, it is, eh? It's 100 million dead under Mao. Hyperbole, eh? I don't think so. What's the solution? Do you have something to say that you're not saying? If you do, then it's your fault. This is your fault. It's your problem. And you might say, well, I'm too afraid to talk. It's like, fair enough. How afraid are you not to talk? People say to me frequently, they compliment me on my bravery. And I think, you don't understand. I'm not brave. I don't like conflict. I'm way more afraid of losing control of my tongue than I am of the consequences of saying what I have to say. Because I know what happens when we allow other people to control our tongues. It's not good. It's not good. It's hell itself. And so, of course, it's troublesome to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune when you say what you have to say. It's like, that's fine. Try not saying what you have to say. Well, that'll be okay in the moment. It's like, yeah, in the moment. But unfortunately, your whole life isn't in the moment.